Alright, what's up guys, Asura here, and today we are going to be going over Messiah again. I know that we literally just went over a month ago, but if you guys have seen that clip, the short one video that uploaded a few days ago, you'll see that there's a completely different build to Messiah that high rolls your opponent's face. So today we're going over that build. That build doesn't even use basically any cards from the new set, so this build is perfectly possible starting from last month. I just didn't think the deck is very good. I still don't think the deck's very good. The deck basically requires you to draw Exodia to actually have that high of a high roll, but when it pops off, it pops off. So without further ado, we'll go over the list. So here it is. So if you see here, we are using a total of 3 cards actually. Three cards from the new set. 2 Exilics and 1 of the Crate Strats. I'll go over those when we get to there. But you see, the majority of this list, or all of this list actually, is all from set 3. This stride is from the Fires Collection. You know where this came from? The Maximum Steel Dragon. This came from the Fires Collection. So this build is perfectly serviceable last month. I knew about it. I just didn't think it was good. But very fun. So without further ado, just go over this. So first off, starter is the Grade 3 Searcher. So I choose to play this over the Neon Messiah because this doesn't need it. You would rather just have the ability to search for the Lady Gunner, given it if you needed to extend your play. So I think in this list specifically, the Grade 3 Searcher is just superior in every way. In a regular list, I think it comes down to preference, but in this list, I think you absolutely have to play the Grade 3 Searcher. Next up for Grade 1s, PG Shard Fodder. We'll go over those. 1 Sacrifice. It can lock itself for extra power and for counter charge. It's kind of just a filler one of. But the main card that we play in this list that's different from every list is this Grade 1. Let me pull up its name real quick. I do not remember this thing's name very well, or at all whatsoever actually. This thing's name is the Lockbreaker Riddle Biter. But his skill is GB1. When this unit attacks, you can choose a locked card and unlock it. And if you do, this unit gets plus 4k power for that battle. So why this card is needed for the combo, if you haven't seen the clip already, is this card attacks. It unlocks your Arousal or your Awakening Messiah. Awakening gets unlocked. Awakening resends this guy. This guy swings again, and he locks another copy of the Arousal or the Awakening, what you want to call it. And then he stands again. So this card is good because 1, it doesn't need to swing at Vanguard. 2, to proc the to use its skill. It's repeatable multiple times, and yeah, those are 2 reasons. He doesn't have to swing at Vanguard, and it's repeatable. So this card is your attacker when you're doing that combo, and because it is your main combo enabler, you are playing it at 4 copies. This Grade 2, the Blast Monk, is the exact same thing but a Grade 2. But the thing is, your Grade 2, you kind of need slots for your other cards, so that's why you, in my opinion, you should be maxing it out on your Grade 2, your Grade 1 slots, so that you can play the other important Grade 2s in your deck as well. So yeah, so you have for the combo you have 5 enablers. So that's a Grade 1. Grade 2s, we have 4 of the Lady Valor of Gravity Well. Her skill is GB1 once per turn. Choose one of your cards and lock it. She gets plus 4k power. So the reason this card's good is because this card lets you lock your Awakening Messiahs, and locking it is pretty good because if you can't preemptively put down a Awakening behind the Vanguard in your back row for your to lock with Alter Ego's stride bonus, because you're scared of removal or something, you need someone to lock her in the main phase. So that's why we're playing 4 of her and 4 of the Lady Gunner, which also locks one of your own cards. So very important. And the reason why we play only 1 of the Blast Monk over us for more of this, because having cards that can lock your own cards is very important in this deck. And that's why we play 4 of this card. And also, even if you do put 1 down to lock preemptively, right? If you have more, but you still need to lock it somehow, and this is one of the ways that you do it. So very important card. The Blast Monk, same thing as the Grade 1, so we won't go over that. Next off, the card that enables a huge chunk of this combo is the Awakening Messiah, or the Arousal Messiah. So its skill is GB1 when this unit is unlocked. You can choose when your rear guard stand and give it plus 2k power. So again, I'll just go over the combo at the end, but basically you lock this card, you use the thing swing, you unlock this card, and then you stand that card, and then you just keep doing that. So pretty good, definitely needed for a combo piece. Kind of sucks it just did not get available otherwise, but for this deck in specific, for the combo, yeah, you do need to play it. And finally, for Arresters. So his skill is on play, he gets plus, your Vanguard's Grade 3 Hard Messiah, he gets plus 2k power, and the skill, when this unit attacks the Vanguard, lock itself, and choose one background either player's, choose 1 card in either player's back row and lock it. So This card, if you this card can be used with just Exelix and not Harmless, and Amnesty to do like the regular combos with those two cards, or it can be used to relock an Arrestor, or not Arrestor, relock a Awakening to extend your combo even further. Because unless you have like a full back row of all Awakening, you only get 2 restands. But if you have the Arrestor, you can swing Arrestor in and then relock a Awaken that you already used to get like a 3rd restand with it. So definitely still probably the best grade 2 in this deck. Multi-purpose, works for your main combo, and works outside of that as well, just being a solid card overall. So yeah, that's it for grade 2s. Grade 3s, we are playing for Alter Egos, and the reason not to play this is your main ride. Skill, GB1 or GB2, sorry, GB2 once per turn. During your end phase, when a lock card is unlocked, you can solo and draw a card, and then stride bonus. When any of your strides on top of the CB1, choose one of your opponent's cards, soft lock it, and lock one of your own cards, and then you get the thing you stride on gets plus 5k. So this card's good because for your combo, the maximum steal checks for locked cards to get power. This card just an instant 2 locks, so definitely very good. Next off is the Lady Gunner. So her skill is on play. If your Vanguard's a grade 3 or higher Messiah, you can pay cost to lock one of your cards to soft lock one of your opponent's cards. So this card also it does 2 things. It lets you soft lock intercept so you can hit face multiple times. It lets you lock your Awakening so you can actually get them locked to begin with. So very good card. If you don't know what soft locking is, just the term that I use to describe cards that get locked until your opponent's battle phase. Because these cards don't lock them until your opponent's entry locks until your opponent's out, so they can actually use the cards. 4 heal cards, and then one of is just the Blink Messiah. This is the grade 3 crit. This deck doesn't have any unhits, so I think like a 1 of crit is not the worst thing in the world. Goes with Soul 2 to fuel for Messiah's GB2. I still don't like the idea of playing grade 0s and crits, but like I really didn't know what else to play in this lot. There is a grade 3 that's like an on-hit version of this card, and I think it just isn't very good. But if you want to play that, you could definitely play that instead. But this 1 of slot really doesn't matter. This is just Strider crits. So when you damage them, when you damage check it, you get to draw a card, and when you're grade 3 or higher Messiah Vanguard attacks, you can put in the soul to draw a card, and you get 5k to that unit. So if you draw it, it's cool. You flip it, it's cool. If you damage check it, it's cool. So and a deck with no on hits, it is actually perfectly fine in my opinion. Just you can play just like a filler 1 of. You saw that clip too. You notice that crit actually let me push for extra damage, so that's pretty nice too. So if you flip, it's pretty nice. If you damage check, it's pretty nice. If you draw, it's pretty nice. So pretty okay in this deck. Unfortunately, it's not Stride Fodder, but that's the downside of playing any grade 0. So yeah, that's it for the triggers. G-Zone, finally, 3 Amnesty. This card is the it's still like your solid backup plan. Skill is when you senior attacks, counterblast 1 to choose any number of lock cards and unlock them, and then if you unlock 3 or more, it gets a crit and it gets 3k per card unlocked to this effect itself. It's 3k per unlocked for this effect, so pretty nice, pretty good card. Just lets you. Most of the time, this card early on is just I use this for the crit to push for damage to push you to 5, but in this deck, your main combo is with this card, but this is like a nice backup. And because we're playing this, I figure let's play the Exelix as well. So Exelix is basically the better Amnesty. Its skill is GB2. When it's in attacks to Vanguards, CB1, flip anything to choose any number of lock cards and unlock them, and the cards unlocked with this effect get plus 3k power. Then, if the number of face-up cards in your G-Zone, or the number of face-up Amnesties in your G-Zone is 2 or more, all your opponent's lock cards that are unlocked by this effect get retired, and this unit gets a crit. So, and if you unlock 3 or more, get the crit. So, basically, you just want 2 of these face-ups so you can retire anything your opponent got locked, and anything that's got locked by opponents to retire them, and your rears get power instead of itself. So your rears can actually get power to scale to hit Vanguard after your crit. So, pretty good card. This card's just a straight up upgrade to the Amnesty, so no reason not to play the Exelix. But the Messiahs are just your backup plan in this deck. They are just there because if you don't draw your pieces, you need something to kill them with, right? So your Messiahs are a backup plan. Your main plan in this deck is the Maximum Seal Dragon. So this card is the Fire Selection Stride, double stride at least. And his skill is when this unit attacks Vanguard, CB1, and if your front row gets 5k power per lock card on the board, yours and your opponent. So the reason why this is important, you're a super degenerate multi-attack deck. This card on average is giving your entire front row like 20k power. So that straight just lets you hit over like 2 defensive straight up. So pretty good card for the case of this deck at least, because forcing over your opponent's Straight forcing over defensives is really needed for a deck that's trying to push from like anywhere from 1 to 3 damage to try to go for lethal. So yeah, definitely need it. Play 2 of it. And finally, the last card is the Blizza, the Stray Elemental Stride. It scales once per turn. CB1, flip anything, and then this unit gets 5k per face in front of your G zone. The reason why this card is played is because it flips, and because it flips as a first stride, it can enable Messiah's GB2. So in a situation where you don't have combo and you don't have the ability to push with the Amnesty, you just go for this as your first stride so you can enable Messiah's GB2 to draw a card, an extra card. So that's it for the deck, and I'll just briefly explain the combo. If you want like a visual understanding of it, obviously you can watch the games. I'll have the full game of the where the clip I uploaded a few days ago came from. But basically, the ideal board is you have two of this dude in the back row, the Arousal, and you preemptively place one down before you go into your first stride. You go to Alter Ego, you stride into the maximum seal. Alter Ego skill, it locks your Arousal and it locks one of your opponent's front row rear guards or any rear guard. Ideally front row because you just want to hit face. And then you call down one of these two, ideally the Lady Gunner, to lock another copy of the Arousal in the back row, and then you call either a copy of this guy or this guy. You can have anything swing first. Ideally, you swing like if it's the Lady Gunner or with these, you swing these two first, and then you swing Vanguard. Vanguard skill, it pumps your front row power, and then you swing with this dude, unlock the Arousal. Arousal, restand this guy, and then this guy swings again. This guy swings again, and then its skill. This guy swings again. You use skill to unlock the other Arousal, and then you swing again. And then if you have arresters, you can call over this one of these two to relock the arrestor, so you can get a third restand. So my explanation probably wasn't amazing. Probably a visual representation of it's much better. So again, if you can watch the clip, we can watch the games after this. I will have games after this. I'll have the one game where it showed off what this deck does when it draws everything, and then I'll also have games where it shows off what this deck looks like when you don't draw everything. Because I think it is very important to note that when this deck does not draw Exodia every single game. So you do need to realize that when this deck doesn't draw Exodia, this deck is kind of bricky. So that's personally why I still think a more big crunch control version of the deck is better than this, just because this deck is super high roll. If you draw your pieces, you win. If you don't draw your pieces, your game plan is kind of bricky. Obviously, you can still win because Amnesty and Exelix are still pretty good cards, but overall, I value the lower ceiling but higher floor kind of deck over something like this, where it has a ridiculously high ceiling but relatively low floor. So yeah. So tell me what you guys think about this deck down below in the comments. Again, I'll have some games for you guys after this, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.